The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, North County, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34258. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Located on the passenger side face of the front bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren recessed. Moving toward the center, you'll find 2 protruding tow hooks. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find your PA speaker siren. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find dual air horns recessed in the front bumper. Moving up onto the front bumper extension, you'll find a 2.5-inch swivel discharge. Moving toward the center, you'll find a D handle and also a cutout for the hose in a tubbed storage location. Moving up onto the side of the cab, you'll find 2 clearance marker lights. Just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing the low and high beam headlights. The high beam is on the inside. Moving up from that location, you'll find turn signals and emergency warning lights clustered together in the same bezel. Moving up, you'll find grab handles for accessing the windshield and 3 windshield wipers across your seamless one-piece windshield. Moving outward on the mirrors, you'll find a flat mirror and convex mirror. Moving upward to the brow, you'll find 5 clearance identification lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof of the apparatus is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Nestled inside the center of that light bar, you'll find your Opticom. Let's take a look at some of those items that we just talked about in a close-up view. First, let's start down at the very bottom. On the side of the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving up to the bumper extension, you'll find your tubbed storage location with dry deck material inside, headlight structure, turn, and emergency warning light. Moving toward the front, you'll find an American flag on your grille in the Pierce logo. Moving up to the roof, you'll find that forward-facing floodlight, and then also at the very top, your emergency warning light. Let's move around to the driver's stepwell. You'll find your air inlet and also shoreline inlet, which is a 20-amp auto-eject plug. Let's move backwards and outward position. You'll find 2 grab handles at points of entry for personnel. Those are for getting in and out of the vehicle. You'll also find grab handles, which are keyed locks, which allow you to open the door. Moving from this location to the very top portion of the cab, you'll find a side-facing floodlight. Moving to the rear section of the cab, you'll find a water tank LED indicator. As we move inside the compartment, you'll find adjustable shelving, LED lights, and also a 12-volt access panel or battery block. Let's move back out from this location to the cab side, where we'll find a side-facing emergency warning light just beneath the D handle on the rear of the cab. As we move down to the bottom, we'll find 2 drains. We'll go over those in just a moment. Then we'll focus on the mid-mount section, starting with the pre-connected area. Let's go back down to the very bottom of the cab. We'll find first the foam pump discharge drain and the foam pump intake drain. Let's move back up to the top to the pre-connects. There are 3 pre-connects here and also a dead load. Moving just to the right, you'll find this warning label regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from above, there is the possibility of entanglement. Moving to the right, we'll move to the master gauges, first starting with the pump intake gauge on the left-hand side and the pump discharge gauge on the right. As we move down from this location, we'll find the intake relief valve. There are instructions for operation on the placard. Moving just to the right in the gray area, you'll find an OK to pump indicator if your pump has properly been engaged. Moving to the right, you'll find the vacuum and pressure test gauge ports, and then moving further down, you'll find the engine cooler. That's a twist, not a pull. Let's move from this location just down across the entire front section of your panel. This is where you're going to find all of your discharges. These are color-coded and also labeled from left to right.
As we move to the very far right in this image, you'll find your fire pump primer. It is an air prime. There are instructions below for best practices, 1000 RPMs when engaging. You'll also find your minimum operation maintenance schedule on the very far left for 150, 200, and 250 PSI test pressures. On the left, you'll find the associated GPM, and on the right, you'll find the associated RPMs when it tests. Moving just to the right, you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. The information below in the gauge has an open and close indicator within the valve. Moving to the right, you'll find the red module, which is your Husky 3 foam system. Just beneath that, you'll find two placards. First, foam system instructions, and the other is the specification placard. This is for your Husky foam system. Moving back up to the Husky foam system, there is instructions on the placard of the device itself, also a system on and off button in green. You do have a digital readout of foam percentage, and then just beneath that there is an increase and decrease, which are the two gray buttons. Moving to the right, you'll find a prime button in the yellow color, and then you'll also find in the operation instructions number 4 your system status light and its indication for its blinking LED lights. Moving to the right, you'll find a foam level indicator for foam A. Moving further to the right, you'll find a water level indicator. This is the amount of water in your water tank. Moving just to the right, we'll talk about the next module. This is your throttle pressure governor. At the very top, you'll find your pump intake digital readout and also pump discharge a digital readout. Beneath that, in the next module, you'll find your RPMs and also information center and diagnostic engine information in the module at the very bottom. Moving to the right, two options, either PSI or RPM. You select that through the mode. The red is going to be the idle button if you choose to move the apparatus to the idle position. You do have the ability to preset presets for pump pressure and also RPMs. That's the preset button. Increase or decrease are the yellow buttons to allow you to increase or decrease pressure or throttle. And to the left, you'll find the main menu button, which is blue, which also acts as a silence button. To the right, you'll find the mode button, which will allow you to receive either PSI or RPM. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound. Let's move just to the right on the panel itself, where you'll find your tank fill and recirculating line. All the way to the far right-hand side, you'll find your tank to pump. And then as we move down, you'll find the number 1 driver side discharge in red. It's a 2.5-inch male outlet. Just beneath the Hale placard is where you'll find the manual pump shift. Please see the owner's manual for this operation. To the right, you'll find the pump drain. As we move from this location, let's move all the way to the left-hand side of the pump panel, where you'll find all of your color-coded, labeled discharge drains. As we move to the right, you'll find this warning label that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and only after they have received proper training. Just beneath that, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet, which is a 2.5-inch female inlet, and then to the right, the Pierce logo American flag eagle. That's your large diameter pump intake. To the right, you'll find a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. To the right, you'll find the draft tank foam lever and also a warning label here regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. To the right, we have a warning label on this pan door. This is just a general information for fall hazard. Do not ride on the side of the apparatus. As we look inside that compartment door, you'll find a white label on the left-hand side indicating the position for the foam level. And just inside, you'll find a foam drain, which is a twist. Here are the instructions here for foam operations, or for vertical for foam filling. As we move inside, directly behind the yellow handle, you'll find the foam drain, which is a twist. Let's pull back outwards from this location, just get a general idea of the body. These are all of the compartment doors in the open position. Let's first start with the number 4 compartment. This is at the very upper left-hand corner in the image. When plugged into shore power, your battery charging system will be activated along with your shoreline outlets. Inside the compartment, you'll also find a 12-volt DC block in addition with LED lighting and adjustable shelving track. As we move now, this is going to be right over the rear axle. You'll find additional pegboard, access panels, LED lighting, and also adjustable shelving within these compartments. As we move just down below this area, you'll find the blue DEF cap. It is a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. In between the two axles, you'll find bottle storage for your SCBA bottles. And then to the rear, you'll find an additional compartment, LED lighting, adjustable shelving, and pegboard. As we move downward from this location, this is where you'll find the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel. It is the silver cap. As we move to the very rear compartment, which will be the left one compartment, you'll find a pull-out drawer on the very bottom. The release is on the lower right side. Let's go ahead and move around now to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items within this area, first starting with the tail lights. Starting at the very top, you'll find an emergency warning light, brake light, turn indicator, and backup light. Moving up from that location, you'll find two cupped switches. We'll go over those in just a moment when I have a little bit more detail. And then we'll look up just slightly above those cup switches is where you'll find your water tank level indicator. And then on the passenger and driver side, you'll find rear-facing emergency warning lights. Let's move now to the dump chute. This is a rear dump. There is a manual dump location at the very top. We'll go over that in a few minutes. You do have a 2.5-inch discharge just above that. And then on the opposite side, you have a large diameter fill. Moving to the left-hand side is where your porta tank is stored behind the D-handle diamond plate. We'll have some more images of that also. You'll also find at the very top a grab handle and traffic advisor. Moving down to the very bottom, you'll find a pull-out step. You'll also find the arm for the dump chute for passenger side and driver side distribution. Here's some image of those items we just talked about. First, deck lights and also hose bed lights. Moving up from this location, you'll see the diamond plate D handle that gains access into where the porta tank is stored. There is a drop-down flap which allows you to push that device up inside without making any kind of scratches or marks on the step area of the diamond plate. This is in the downward position with the DuraSurf visible. Let's move now to the rear dump. You can see first the safety mechanism and then also on the far right the release mechanism. This is your 2.5-inch rear driver's side discharge. The small handle once again will be your release. The large handle will be the actual dump valve. Just beneath that you'll find two tow eyes and also a compartment storage pan door. Quick image here of the tank fill large diameter. Let's move around now to the side of the vehicle. You can see the ladder rack is in the up position and compartments are open. Starting down in the very first compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray. The release mechanism is on the lower right-hand side. There is also SCBA bottle storage not only to the rear of the axle, but also in between the axle and to the front of the axle area. Let's move now down to the very base of the front of the rear axle is where you'll find a warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. This is due to the exhaust pipe. Be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. As we move now to the midsection, we'll cover some of the items within this area. First, an access door to get into the equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. If you're unable to gain access through this and need a larger access, the top access does allow you to open to gain full access to the pump area. This is your hydraulic reservoir. Moving from this location, let's go ahead and close the outer panel. We'll talk a little bit about some of the items here. First, starting with the 2.5-inch passenger side discharge. We also have a warning label in this area regarding extreme caution with pressure hazard due to those caps that may be under pressure. Also, large diameter passenger side discharge. It is your green indicator. Moving to the right, you'll find your powered equipment rack and also your cab lift. There are instructions for each of these items. When utilizing the powered equipment rack, notice that there are some danger information here as well as on the cab lift. Be cautious when opening your cab that items are secured within the cab. As we move just forward to that location, you'll find passenger side scene lights and also your real rewind switch. Down in the lower section, you'll find your large diameter pump intake. It's the Pierce American Flag Eagle, and then also your 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet. These are your drains associated and color-coded, labeled across the very bottom. Let's now move to the cab of the apparatus. On the rear section of the cab, as is on the driver's side, you'll find your lung compartment in the rear section of your apparatus. Let's move from this location. In between the two passenger doors, you'll find that additional compartment. Inside, you'll find adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and also a 12-volt fuse block. As we move out now, just a general view of the passenger side of the vehicle, you'll also find at the top your powered equipment rack housing a 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, and a 10-foot attic ladder. On the driver's side, you'll find your drafting tube storage location. As we look now to the top section, you can see the two handles which will hold the two sections in your hose tray area. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll find this location here. This is your Husky 3 foam system. This is the foam hydraulic oil reservoir for your Husky 3 foam system. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll also find a MasterStream device with an Extend-A-Gun. There are instructions on the lower left-hand side on the panel. As we move to the booster line or red line, you'll find a manual rewind location at the top, and then also the ability to tension or free spool on the far right. As we move just in front of the dunnage area, you'll find your foam tank fill for A foam, and also there's a warning label here for foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. Also in the same vicinity, you'll find the fill location topside for your water tank. The yellow diamonds are indicating a walking surface area for firefighter safety. They are reflective. Just a quick review here. In the dunnage area, you'll find your Husky Foam System 3, Extend-A-Gun, MasterStream device, and booster line. As we move to the cab itself, you'll find this is a non-walking surface. That's why we have these two warning labels here. Let's move now to the driver's side cab, where we'll start first with the door panel. There are all of your warning labels affixed to all the door panels for points of entry of firefighters. As we move also down to the lower right-hand side, when plugged into shore power, you'll find your auto charging system activate. Just inside about the right ankle, you'll find a placard. This is from Pierce Manufacturing. We'll go over that in just a moment. This is your battery voltage indicator. Once again, when plugged into shore power, this will become active. This is the manufactured for North County Regional Fire Authority. It does have the date of manufacture, the 5-digit job number, cold tire inflation, and gross vehicle weight ratings. In addition, it has the VIN number and all the fluid capacities for the component and fluid types. As we move to the floor, you'll find your mechanical siren, brake treadle, and also accelerator. Just up about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your master battery switch in silver, tech module, engine ABS diagnostic port, and then also your ABS diagnostic, DPF regen, engine diagnostic, and regen inhibit. On the far right, you'll find your display module. Moving from this location slightly upward, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump and also from pump to road. Just remember, when exiting the cab, you need two green indicators, first pump engaged and OK to pump for pump operations. Let's move from this location to the opposite side of the steering column, where you'll find your interaxle differential lock. There is an indicator red indicating that it is in the locked position. You'll also find mirror control for flat mirror and convex mirror. As we move to the far left, you'll find your ignition and start switch. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find a small switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. You'll also find headlights and panel switch, which will allow you to brighten or dim the panel lights within the driver's preview. As we look to the front section here, you'll find your transmission, oil, DEF, and water temperature on the left. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air, your speedometer and tachometer in the center. Diagnostic information for your apparatus will display above and below the speedometer. On the far right of the column, you'll find your OK to engage your high idle indicator and also switch. As we move now to the dash area, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake. It is the yellow diamond. And to the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see your owner's manual for more information. To the right, you'll find your windshield wiper control and also push for fluid. We'll go ahead and identify a few of the switches just beneath this area. First, starting on the left with the engine brake on and off switch. We also have a setting switch for the engine brake for low, medium, and high settings. Front wheel lock, off-road traction. You have a selector switch, either horn or siren, and also a mirror heat. Moving just down from this location and slightly to the right, you'll find your climate control, 12-volt access USB, and also a caution to disengage your retarder on slippery surfaces. Located on the engine, you'll also find your Whelen siren and PA speaker module. Just a quick review, this is your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Allison transmission pad on the right hand side with an informational note here to pump in drive, and then also a warning label here regarding your parking brake and front wheel lock. As we look overhead of the operator, you'll find the placard housing the height 10 feet 9 inches, length 36 feet 0.75 inches, a gross vehicle weight rating of 59,500 pounds. If you make any adjustments, please update this placard. Moving to the right, you'll find your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. If any of these switches have been activated, the indicator light will resume within the switch itself. Let's move slightly to the right in the same vicinity. You'll find your directional traffic advisor. There is a power switch and also a function switch. Moving to the right, an additional set of switches, first starting with a red siren brake, front flood, driver's side flood, passenger side flood, side scene light, and also a load manager. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the rear section of the apparatus. Inside the cab rear wall is where you'll find two seats located in the center on the back wall. On the outer edges, you'll find those two exterior cabinets. You'll also find your headset systems located overhead. As we move now to the front section of the officer area, affixed to the door panel, you'll find those warning labels. In addition, you'll also find on the A-pillar a location for your fill for windshield wiper fluid. Your vehicle is equipped with an airbag supplemental restraint system. It's located behind the SRS insignia. As we look to the A-pillar, once again, this is the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving now to the pedestal area, you can see there's a drop-down compartment within this area for storage under the officer seat. As we look to the left-hand side of the officer seat, you'll find your air horn and mechanical siren. Let's go ahead and look overhead in the officer seat location. On the far right overhead, you'll find your FireCom module. Moving just to the left, you'll find a set of rocker switches. These control the front flood, driver's side flood, and also passenger side flood. Side scene lights. There's also a future switch location in case you need to add any additional switches, and also your Opticom momentary switch. Looking to the center of the cab, you'll find a red indicator light indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment or door open. Also looking to the very rear section of the apparatus engine, you'll find this access panel door. This is for your daily checks for oil and transmission checks. Congratulations, North County, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 34258. We do have some additional photos with the cab tilted. We'll go ahead and let those play out next. Congratulations on your new apparatus. Once again, congratulations, North County, on your new fire apparatus. If you have any questions regarding the content of this video or any questions about your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.